Welcome to the session on PBIS in early childhood. I just want to go over a couple of things. I'm going to allow our exemplar presenters to introduce themselves when it's time for their section. I'm Anna Winokur. I'm out of the University of South Florida. And I'm just going to go over just some background and sort of part of the reason why we're here. And then I'm going to let our exemplars take it from there since they have tons of great information to share with you all. Just wanted to remind you of our expectations to be responsible, respectful, and safe. Just remember too, if you can limit those distractions. I know it's hard when we're all remote, but we are going to stay on topic and we're going to be positive, and we really are counting on you all to ask questions, especially if you're looking for a resource or you need an idea of some sort. We'll provide you with a lot, but I'm sure it's not enough time to get at everything. So that being said, if you do need help with tech support, this is, as a participant, where you can find that help. I definitely suggest that everybody is coming from a different place and a different operating system, that you take advantage of that if something should start to go funny on your end or on our end. But our objectives today are really to identify those differences that are between school-wide PBIS implementation, and then what does that look like in early childhood. So we're going to talk about scale up as a state has done it, scale up in early childhood as a district has done it, and then also resources. So how can you effectively support those early childhood classrooms and programs? So right now I'm just going to do an overview, then I'm going to pass it off to our two exemplars who will cover the statewide and district-wide, and then we've saved some time for questions and answers at the end. So our first poll that we have is asking you, what's your level of experience with supporting early childhood classrooms or programs, especially with either PBIS, the pyramid model? It's just nice to get a sense of who's in our audience, since we can't see you all or see you raise your hands right now, just to know the variety of folks who are coming to us with different levels of experience. So I'll give you a second to answer that. Okay. All right, so I think regardless of how confident or not that you feel in terms of supporting these early childhood programs or classrooms, hopefully everybody will walk away with some different ideas. We encourage you during questions and answers to share some of your ideas. We can always, all of us can learn from each other. So I do appreciate that, and any contributions you all might have. So just to start with, I just wanted to briefly review, what do we mean by PBIS? I think everybody, regardless of how they answer the question, has that understanding, but we're aiming to really build those effective environments. It's meant to be collaborative, and we're really emphasizing those preventative measures. How do we teach what it is that we want to see, and then how do we reinforce those? So we're going to be talking about similarities and differences in early childhood settings throughout the presentation, but I encourage you just to stop and reflect of, in your experience, what have you seen that is very similar in some instances and different in other instances. So I just pointed out a couple of things for you on this slide. One, we know that there's differences in the children that we're supporting, right? So when we're talking about early childhood classrooms, we're talking about birth through 5. In some states, I know it's birth through 7, but those are very different age groups than when we traditionally think about school-wide. So we know meltdowns are going to happen with young children. That's just part of their developmental stage. We know for our younger children that play is so important because that's where a lot of learning occurs. Having those planned activities and routines are super important for our young children. And for a lot of them, this is going to be their first time in school, right? So they're maybe coming to us with some limited social and emotional skills, and we're going to have to teach those and reteach those and practice those and reinforce those to really help our children be successful. There's also some differences in environment, meaning the physical structure is different. When we're talking about early childhood classrooms, we're usually talking about open space with different centers. We have nap and circle with early childhood classrooms, so the activities could look different. The qualifications and the professional development expectations for teachers and staff might also require some different skill sets, require some different knowledge, different practice than when we think K through 12. At the core of everything we do in early childhood is family involvement. So we want to make sure that we're partnering with families every step of the way, that they're able to use complementary activities to what we're doing in school, so we have some of that consistency in place. And then when we're thinking of our reinforcement systems, they're going to be different for our younger children. Even if you're on an elementary school campus, your third graders might be able to wait for the month till they earn their class-wide or grade-wide reinforcement, or they're up, for example, like a popcorn party. But for our young children, they need something more immediate, more concrete to really make the connections between what it is that we're reinforcing and what it is that's happening for that reinforcement. So that's what brings us here today, what we'll be discussing. When we're thinking about, I mentioned school-wide PBIS, we're really thinking about the graphic that's at the top, and we're again coming at it with that preventative piece. So we have our universal practices, we have some more targeted supports for our students who might need some extra supports. And then of course we have at the top our intensive. So those individualized interventions for students who are showing that they would really benefit from that. Throughout the presentation, you'll also hear reference to the pyramid model, and that's the graphic that's at the bottom. And when we're talking about this, we're talking about a set of evidence-based practices that are really developmentally appropriate and really get at all of those differences that I just mentioned. And we are still thinking about what do we do for all children, what do we do for some, and then what do we do for few. So we still have that universal, targeted, and an intensive approach. So when we're talking about the pyramid model, you'll see some similarities right off the top of the page, right? I started off by saying, what is PBIS? And we're thinking about what's the goal of the pyramid model, how do those two fit together? And the goal is really creating that environment so that every child who walks through the door feels good about coming to school, that the environment really promotes child engagement, and that we're focusing specifically on teaching children what we want to see, right? What should they be doing? So we're spending a lot of time teaching expectations, teaching how to follow routines, and teaching those skills. When we said that a lot of our children come without those social emotional skills, that we're taking time to stop and teach those as well. So you see that it really is a natural fit together. However, although all of us might see this as fitting together so perfectly, a lot of times what we see when we go out to schools or different programs is that there might be early childhood classrooms or preschool classrooms on an elementary school campus, but they operate almost like a lonely island. They're in isolation of other school initiatives. Oftentimes they might be included, but not in a way that's really meaningful for the age of the children that they're teaching. So what we want to think of is, and what I would like you guys to think of as we're moving along, what does our school-wide PBIS look like right now? Are we sort of guilty of letting our early childhood classrooms be that lonely island? Is there meaningful participation? And maybe a lot of you already have that real meaningful participation. But if we think about school-wide, we want that to know that all the classrooms are using a multi-tiered system to address behavior. So when we say all, we mean those pre-K classrooms that are on your campus or classrooms that are serving our youngest children. We also want to make sure that all classrooms have access to those same supports, especially around behavior and social emotional learning. So when we say all classrooms, we mean that even our pre-K should be included in a meaningful way. So I just like to show this because I felt like this is what our whole purpose of today is how can we make sure that these two fit together, that we are making sure all students are benefiting from what we're doing, and that as we're moving forward, we're truly being school-wide because we are including everyone. So just to help some of you all think about, are we truly being collaborative? Just start by thinking about your school-based team. We always say that it should be representative of different grade levels, of different areas. It should be multidisciplinary. So thinking, do we have pre-K representation on that team? We know our school team needs to review all Tier 1 data for both behavior and academics. Well, do we have pre-K sitting at the team? Are they looking at data? Are they looking at data that's meaningful for the children that they are teaching? So how are we collecting data for pre-K and kindergarten? When we talk about quote unquote challenging behavior, do we have those different definitions? If we know that children are going to come to us and we're going to see meltdowns given their age, is that really considered challenging behavior? No, but for older children it might. So have we really taken the time to differentiate those? And then thinking about your team. If you have the pre-K representation, that's terrific. But let's think about that core curriculum. Can it be adapted with lesson plans for pre-K? Is the reinforcement system developmentally appropriate? And are we always evaluating what we're doing at all tiers for all classrooms? And if we're doing coaching, are we including our pre-K classrooms to receive that coaching? And are they being coached on those practices that are developmentally appropriate? So I just included 2 slides that are they're 2 resources, if you haven't seen them, that really help folks to have a better understanding of what does that mean when we say, including everyone. So how can we get those preschool classrooms on board with what's happening school-wide? And within the rest of the document, it addresses some of those common challenges that we've heard and how you might respond or address them. And the other resource I share here is a crosswalk between PBIS and the pyramid model, which goes much more in depth to what does this look like school-wide versus early childhood, and where are the things that as a team we could take a look at to then improve. And I pulled both of these from the NCPMI, the National Center for Pyramid Model Innovations. You could go to challengingbehavior.org. And if you look under implementation and program wide, you'll find those 2 documents, but there is so much more on this website. If you are somebody who's supporting early childhood classrooms or you're a teacher in those classrooms, I really highly encourage you to go through this website if you haven't already. Lots of materials have been recently updated and there's lots of different topics that are covered, but those 2 I just shared with you, you can find right there. So I'm going to hand this off to our presenters from Ohio.
Hi, thanks. Thanks, Anna.
I'm just going to approve this. There you go. Thanks so much.
Right. Hi. Thanks. My name is Margie Spino, and I'm going to be co-presenting with Krista Dickens. And we represent a state-level PBIS work group from Ohio. And today we're going to be talking with you about our state's journey to scale up early childhood PBIS. But before we begin, I really would like to just take a minute, if you haven't already, and ask you to respond to the 2 polls that we have. The first one is just to let us know where you're from. And I see that a lot of you have been participating in that. And the second one, please let us know at what level you're working to implement PBIS. So I'll let you have a few minutes or seconds to respond to that. And let me tell you a little bit about where Krista and I are from. So we're from Ohio again. And if you're wondering exactly where that is, Ohio is east of the Mississippi River, south of the Great Lakes. We're at the southern tip of Lake Erie. Of the 50 states, we're the 34th largest by area. And our state is about 220 miles long and 220 miles wide. We have about 11.7 million people living in Ohio, and that makes us the 7th most populous state in the US and the 10th most densely populated. So I'm just going to take a quick look and see from our poll, it's ever changing, but we have certainly a lot of friends from Ohio and Michigan. You can see we also have some friends from Indiana, Nebraska, California, Louisiana. So thank you much. And with regard to the second poll, it looks like we have, it's pretty evenly matched at state level, school district level, and implementing at the building and program level. So that's maybe not exactly what I expected. I thought it would be a little bit more skewed, but happy to see that we have people represented at all of those levels. Again, the first part of this session today, like Anna mentioned, Krista and I are going to be talking about state level implementation. And as Krista and I talk about that in our journey in Ohio, we really again invite you to think about how your state or district is organized. I think back to George Sagai's comments in the keynote and about how our context really impacts and affects our behaviors and what we're doing. So obviously it's going to affect our scale up and how we implement within whatever level we're implementing within. So let's take a look now at how Ohio is organized educationally. And what we have happening in Ohio is we have a little over 600 school districts. And in Ohio, we have about 300 charter schools that are also treated as school districts. School districts in Ohio really can vary in size and may contain one building or over 100 school buildings within a single district. Within each of those school buildings, we have more than 1.6 million students that are being educated in Ohio. Now, while that number includes preschool through grade 12, just want to let you know that in Ohio, preschool is not compulsory. So our preschool system is organized a little bit differently than it is with our K-12 system. And in Ohio, what that looks like is we have two different agencies that license preschool and childcare programs. The Ohio Department of Education licenses about 1,500 programs, and the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services licenses about 4,000 childcare centers. All of our licensed programs have to be part of our quality rating and improvement system. And in Ohio, that's called Step Up to Quality. Now, any of these licensed preschool programs can be operated by a variety of agencies, and those are the ones we have listed on our slide, such as school districts, educational service centers, et cetera. Again, preschool is not compulsory in Ohio, but school districts are responsible for providing services to preschool children identified with disabilities. And our school districts serve about 22,000 preschoolers with disabilities. A school district might have a child attend its own preschool program, or it might contract with any of these other entities to have the child attend in that setting. So we have a lot of different types of entities that provide services to preschool children, and to help each of those operate, there are a lot of different support agencies. One of those support agencies focuses specifically on school districts, and that's the state support teams. Each of the 16 state support teams collaborates with schools, families, regional partners, and the Ohio Department of Education through a continuous improvement process to ensure that each child in Ohio has access to a high quality education. The state support teams provide professional development and technical assistance to school districts across all grade levels, preschool through grade 12, and across all content areas, focusing on school improvement, special education, literacy, and PBIS. So PBIS is just one part of a state support team consultant's job. In addition to that, besides the state support teams, we also have many other agencies and initiatives in Ohio that support young children and their families. And just a few of those are represented on this slide. So as you recall, we're a fairly large state. We're spread out geographically. We have a lot of different ways that young children can receive preschool services, and we have a lot of agencies involved in supporting young children, their families, and their service providers. So if you're feeling confused by now, that's okay. It's really sort of a complicated picture. And again, as Dr. Sagai mentioned, that's sort of our background and our context. You may be wondering what that has to do with PBIS, and hopefully that will become clearer as we go along with our story. So to continue, let's take a look at, in the beginning, way back in 2005, Ohio began an initiative called Ohio's Integrated Systems Model for Academic and Behavioral Supports. While that initiative included PBIS, there was no early childhood presence. About 7 years later, the state created a state PBIS network. The state network's purpose was to serve school districts, and its members were mostly the consultants from the state support teams and from the Ohio Department of Education. The network also received continuing guidance and support from Dr. Timothy Lewis from the OSAP Technical Assistance Center for PBIS. And in 2012, that network was comprised of 4 work groups, still no early childhood yet. The activities and urgency of the work for the Ohio PBS network was greatly accelerated in 2013 with the Ohio State Board of Education's adoption of a PBIS policy and rules. So these policy and rules strongly supported the adoption of PBIS in all public schools. Also in 2013, the network added a 5th work group, the Early Childhood Work Group. But each early childhood work group member also sat on one of the original 4 work groups, and so they served more of a supporting role. The network held quarterly meetings and created trainings, but the work was still primarily focused on K-12. In 2014, the Ohio Department of Education received 2 federal grants to increase PBIS and student mental health efforts in Ohio schools. These 2 grants provided 5-year funding through 2019. And then finally, also in 2014, a consultant from the Ohio Department of Education's Office of Early Learning and School Readiness joined the Early Childhood Work Group. Okay, so now it's 2014, 2015, and our work group finally felt like it was ready to roll. But then things began to get a little bit confusing. School districts were beginning to ask our regional state support team consultants, and particularly those in the network, for help with early childhood. School districts were starting to implement PBIS, but they were leaving preschool out or really not sure how to include them. We definitely had those lonely islands, I think, that Anna mentioned previously. So the state PBIS network was looking to our work group for help. But our early childhood work group really didn't have answers or tools. We had just ourselves sort of gained understanding about what it meant to be implementing PBIS. And we didn't have much of an understanding of what, if anything, was different about implementing early childhood PBIS. We were seeing and hearing that what worked in high schools and middle schools didn't seem appropriate. So for example, we were hearing and seeing reward systems that use tickets, but we had the sense that those weren't developmentally appropriate, but we were really unsure what it should look like at the early childhood level. We wanted to honor early childhood developmentally appropriate practices, but we knew that we still wanted to connect our preschools to their school districts. So we thought our focus originally was to integrate preschool into the school age system using the existing trainings and tools that the network had already developed. But now it really felt like that just wasn't working. So it seemed that there was PBIS, but was there really early childhood PBIS? So we started our journey to learn more. We really wanted to sort of define and gain an understanding of what it meant to do early childhood PBIS. What does it look like? And how does it compare with what our state already had in place for school age PBIS? So in 2014, we started looking around for more information. We surveyed and looked within our own state and surveyed different stakeholders for what sort of information they had or what their level of understanding was. Next, we looked at other states. We had interviews and conversations with them about similar structures. We attended the Challenging Behavior Conference in Florida. We spoke with Tim Lewis and looked at what Missouri was doing with early childhood. Overall, we were looking at what structures and practices were being used differently at the early childhood level. So after taking a year and gathering all of this information, what we came to understand was that there were differences. The framework is the same, but there were things that needed to be different when applied to the framework and to the early childhood context. So at this point, we'd like to pause and invite you to respond to another poll. And in this poll, we ask for you to think about what do you think is the biggest difference in implementing early childhood, or I'm sorry, in implementing PBIS in an early childhood versus school age settings. So I'll just pause for a moment while you select what you think is the biggest difference. Do you think the biggest difference is with a leadership team, with developing and teaching expectations, the acknowledgement system, responding to challenging behavior system, the student behavior data management system, or the adult implementation system? And I'll see if my technology is going to allow me, okay, to see the poll results. And it looks like, feel free to continue to enter into this, but it looks like about a third of you feel like the major difference is with developing and teaching expectations. Oh, and now we just had a responding to challenging behavior. Yeah, so I think what we're seeing here is exactly what we sort of found out as well, is that the PBIS framework elements are different at the early childhood level, with some of those differences really being greater than others. I think next, then Krista is going to pick up our story and let you know kind of how all of that thinking informed our future choices and actions.
Great. Thanks, Margie. And I think I'm going to let you take the virtual clicker from me. And so, yeah, after all that work researching and determining what early childhood PBIS meant for Ohio, we needed to decide what it was going to look like. So you had heard Margie mention in our research that we looked at about a couple of things already in place. We looked at closely at what was happening in our own state. Ohio had those K-12 trainings and materials. But it was really missing the mark, you heard Margie say. And what we specifically thought it was missing was that it didn't have enough developmentally appropriate content or considerations for young children, wasn't addressing systems and practices specific to early childhood. And it was really light on family engagement, relationships, environments, and teaching social emotional skills, all of which we know needs to be heavily weighted for early childhood. So we had those Ohio school age materials, and we could have started with those and made edits that included early childhood, but we also had this other really kind of nicely paved road. The other thing we considered was the pyramid model. We had researched it. We really value its content. Pockets of Ohio are very familiar with the SEPL modules. You heard Margie say that we had attended those challenging behavior conferences in Florida for several years. And as a work group, we agreed that many aspects of the pyramid model could work for Ohio, but there were still just some things that needed to be different in order to better be aligned to our Ohio school systems. So as Margie mentioned, our work through the Ohio Department of Ed is with school districts pre-K to 12, and then Ohio district operated preschool programs are part of their district. So we needed to make sure that when we created materials and support to support early childhood, we were aligning them to the buildings and practices that those programs were located in, which meant materials created for preschool programs could and should have that stretch to include all grades associated with early childhood, which is preschool up until or through grade 3. So we had a really big decision to make as a work group. Should we choose that nicely paved road off to the left and just adapt Ohio's school age materials for preschool? Should we choose the other amazingly smooth road off to the right and adapt pyramid model material so they would better align with our K-12 systems? Or should we just pave our own road, blasting right through that mountain to create materials that were developmentally appropriate and aligned preschool through grade 12 in Ohio? And as you probably guessed, or may have guessed, we blasted right through that mountain. And as you can imagine, it's been hard, time-intensive work, and it doesn't seem to have an end in sight, but it's well worth it. Adhering to the PBIS framework, which we know is appropriate preschool through grade 12, we created trainings, materials, and supports that aligned preschool through grade 12, but intentionally focused on early childhood, knowing that what is developmentally appropriate practices and considerations for preschool are also developmentally appropriate for children up through grade 3. So all the materials our work group created for Ohio are labeled as early childhood. Not only do the preschool programs in Ohio use our early childhood materials, but so do many of our school buildings that include younger grades, like those that serve preschool and kindergarten, as well as some of our elementary buildings. So let's talk briefly about the trainings, the materials, and the supports we created for early childhood in Ohio. I'm going to refer to these things as tools that have helped kind of move us forward in our work. So since we chose to blast through that mountain, we had to create not just a few, but many tools. And even though we have quite a few right now, we're probably not really done with creating them. So in creating the early childhood tools for Ohio, we created some of our own, like the Early Childhood PBIS Tier 1 modules. We intentionally formatted those trainings to be the same as Ohio's Tier 1 school age materials. We also used some existing tools and created companion guides that included considerations that were specific to early childhood. So for example, we took the TFI and added vocabulary like programs when we saw schools. We also included developmentally appropriate considerations for early childhood. So as you know, the TFI lists 3 to 5 expectations. In early childhood, we feel no more than 3 is appropriate. So that's part of that companion guide. We also know that we wanted to consider different ways young children can show us that they know the expectations during a walkthrough. So we added that as an appendix. So we called that tool the Early Childhood TFI Companion Guide. Another example of us taking existing tools and creating companion guides is for the self-assessment survey, or some of you know it as the SAS. So on the existing SAS document that's ready available that talks about what the elements are of the SAS, we just provided an extra column on that document with terms and examples that early childhood staff would be more familiar with to help them better understand and complete the SAS. So those were a couple tools that were existing tools that we created companion guides. We also continue to identify the need for creating materials that support the refinement of practices so we can get better at it. So one of those examples is the TFI Action Plan rubric. So it's a rubric that helps teams develop stronger action plans, which we know drives those monthly meeting agendas and moves the work forward. So we realized that these materials are separate from school age, and really they were created in reaction to the school age materials in Ohio not being developmentally appropriate for early childhood. We, as an early childhood work group, continue to work with the state PBIS network to create materials from their inception that span pre-K to 12 in developmentally appropriate ways. We also know that there may be still a need to have something additional or separate tools for early childhood. It's a constant conversation and struggle that we're reflecting on as a work group. So after deciding what early childhood PBIS in Ohio was going to look like, we needed to make another important decision about how we would approach the scaling up of early childhood PBIS initiative in Ohio. So we had two choices here. The first one was, should we implement early childhood PBIS across the state to all early childhood programs? Or should we just focus on a number of district programs through a demonstration site project? And we decided to keep our focus laser-like and implement a demonstration site pilot project. And Margie will show that on the next slide. So we know that the research says that this is the most efficient approach to scaling up an initiative, that you hone in, you have a focused laser-like approach. So our work group made the decision to launch 16 demonstration sites across Ohio, representing each region of the state. So each one of those demonstration sites is coached by an early childhood state support team consultant like myself, who works intensely with the site by providing professional development, technical assistance, and coaching to that demonstration site's PBIS team. In turn, that early childhood PBIS team at the demonstration site has signed an agreement and have agreed to provide continuous feedback and act as learning partners as we evolve and grow in this hard work. These programs continue to work to build high quality PBIS early learning programs and act as exemplars for their region. So let me quickly and briefly just shift gears here on you. We wanted to highlight some things that are happening in our state that gave our early childhood PBIS work a little gas or fuel, if you will. So the first thing that's happening is House Bill 318. It was created to address the large number of pre-K through grade 3 children being expelled for behavior. And it requires training, implementation, and monitoring of PBIS in the buildings that serve children pre-K to grade 3. Another thing that's happening in Ohio that kind of is fueling the work of early childhood PBIS is Ohio's strategic plan, which is called Each Child, Our Future. And it's our Ohio shared plan for ensuring that each student is challenged, prepared, and empowered for his or her future by the way of an excellent pre-K through grade 12 education. That strategic plan consists of 4 learning domains, one of which is SEL, social emotional learning. And then PBIS and expanding quality early learning are 2 of the 10 strategies outlined in that plan. The last thing that we wanted to highlight that's happening in Ohio that's given us, a little bit of muscle or fuel is Ohio's recognition system. So Ohio's PBIS state, Ohio's PBIS network and state support teams identify schools that exemplify best practices in the implementation of PBIS, and early childhood is included in that recognition system. So all three of these things have fueled the early childhood PBIS work that's happening in Ohio. So let's spend the next couple of slides, these next 2 slides, talking about scale up. What good is all this hard work if we don't have a plan to move it forward? So to effectively provide quality PBIS training to school building staff, Ohio developed this hierarchy of coordination and training from the state to the classroom. So you've heard Margie say that we are part of, she's part of the Ohio Department of Education. I'm part of we are part of the PBIS network. And there are coordinators and master trainers like myself that work with that group to then take the trainings and coaching that we have and pass it down to buildings and schools. And so that's what it looks like in Ohio. Early childhood is included in the statewide plan, but as you might have guessed, we wanted to provide a slide with a little bit more detail about what it specifically means to move forward, early childhood forward in Ohio, including our demonstration sites and beyond them. So we've got this plan that Margie's pulled up. It's probably the simplest and I would say the most concise slide that details how early childhood is being implemented in Ohio currently. The only thing that I'm going to say is missing here is our arrows at the each end of those lines, indicating that the communication is back and forth. It's a constant feedback loop that's helping us refine our practices and materials. In addition to the 16 demonstration sites we have in Ohio, SST master trainers like myself can work to support early childhood with many other types of programs that run preschool in Ohio. And it's really up to the capacity of the region and the consultant to do so. So we are starting to move this work beyond the demonstration sites. All right, so we know that we have just dropped a ton of info on you and we encourage you to follow up with us. Our contact information is gonna be in the next few slides ahead. But before we turn you over to our Illinois friends, we wanted to leave you with the following lessons learned from a statewide perspective. So first, it's got to start at the top. Early childhood representation at the state level is essential for statewide scale up of PBIS in early childhood settings. Support at that state level and supports state consultants and coaches, support programs, administrators, and teachers, and then ultimately benefits children and families in your state. So it starts at the top and at the beginning. From the inception of every conversation, early childhood needs to be at the table. Number 2, you've got to go slow to go fast. Even at the state level, you need a plan. So taking time to make your action plan, checking in with it, modifying it, it's time that is well invested. It keeps you from going off track, which is so easy to do. Number 3, it's going to cost you more than you think. All of this work takes so much time and planning and problem solving. And when you think it's going to, the realistic goal is that it might be done by winter of 2021, really it's not. There always seems to be more that we hadn't considered. So from a statewide perspective, set realistic goals, adjust your speed accordingly, make sure nobody jumps out, nobody gets burnt out, right? And you have to be very intentional about that. Number 4, get ready to get messy. Developing common goals and making decisions to support those goals take time. It takes critical conversations. At a state level, you have to be ready to have them. Creating a process that makes those conversations easier is something that's important, and adhering to them. And then lastly, adopting a growth mindset. We're constantly learning from each other, from the field, through the demonstration site, through the state work. To keep growing and moving forward, we need to continuously be asking for feedback. So think feedback loops so that you could stay focused and yet flexible and always learning. And then our advice is to remember those things and then just buckle up and enjoy the ride, because it's a wild one. Wanting to let you know where we're going next in the state of Ohio with our Early Childhood PBIS work group is that for Early Childhood PBIS Tier 2, we've created that training and we'll be piloting it this year with our demonstration sites. It's time for us to revise our Tier 1 modules so that it reflects lessons learned and it better prepares teams for the work that they're going to do in Tier 2. We're piloting a tool this year that'll help us identify high quality implementation of PBIS in our demonstration sites so visitation can be promoted at them. We're going to we are constantly refining our early childhood PBIS work group processes, capturing our practices and those processes as a work group. So we have a manual of sorts for the work that we do. We think that's important for capacity and sustainability. And then lastly, we will continue to have insert ourselves and make early childhood contributions to PBIS work being done in Ohio, pre-K through 12. And so that's where we're going. A really quick shout out to acknowledge the support from our two Ohio Department of Education offices, the Offices of Early Learning and School Readiness, and then the Office of Integrated Student Supports. And a special shout out to the Early Childhood PBIS work group members who have been guiding this work since 2013. We know some of you are on the call today and with us, so thank you for that. All right, our contact information, if you need Margie or I'll just say if there are any tools that we talked about today and you're interested, reach out to us. We'd like to share them with you and have a conversation about how you might use them. And then the other part is a little bit greedy of us. We would like to get feedback from you about what worked, what didn't work. So reach out to us. And then the last couple slides lets you know that we are all over social media in Ohio, and we are on Twitter for the hashtag ECPBS demo site, or what we're encouraging some of our demo sites to do when they are promoting the good work. So I think we are ready to turn it over to our Illinois friends. So I'll start here.
All right, thank you very much. I am Katie Jezik, and I am an early childhood teacher from Community Consolidated School District 93. I am also the internal Tier 2 coach for our Early Childhood Center. Today, I will be presenting with Julie Cook, who is our social worker and one of the Tier 3 coaches at the Early Childhood Center. Our district is in Carroll Stream, Illinois. We are a suburb of Chicago located west of the city. The district serves Carroll Stream as well as portions of Bloomingdale and Hanover Park. Our district has a total enrollment of just over 3,500 students. We house 1 early childhood center, 6 elementary schools, and 2 middle schools. As you can see from these pie graphs, we are a very diverse multicultural community. Our student population at the Early Childhood Center consists of students enrolled in our Early Childhood Special Education Program, children who qualify for our Preschool for All grant through the state of Illinois. And last year, we also had students from the community who are tuition-based. Our tuition-based students could sign up to come 3, 4, or 5 days a week. All students are half-day program. And this year, due to COVID-19, we do not have our tuition students as part of our school population. So all of our students are 5 days a week this year. So at the Early Childhood Center last year, we had a total enrollment of about 219 students. About 21 of those students, or 10% of our student population, received check-in, check-out interventions. 10 students were also a part of our social academic instructional groups, and 3 students benefited from a simple functional behavioral assessment and behavior intervention plan. 2 students also received Tier 3 wraparound services, which Julie will talk more about later. The graphics you see on this slide are examples of our 3 SAIG groups that students can participate in. These are connected to our second step curriculum that we use and our school expectations about listening rules, playing with friends, and then feelings. First, I would like to tell you a little more about PBIS Tier 2 supports at our Early Childhood Center. This will be our 4th year implementing Tier 2 interventions. When we first began, we had difficulty identifying students who would benefit from the supports that Tier 2 provided. As early childhood educators, we knew that our students were just learning how to be in a school environment. Therefore, we tried a lot of problem-solving strategies within the classroom instead of allowing the PBIS system to work. We realized we only had a few students receiving Tier 2 services because we were seeing certain behaviors as developmentally appropriate for the age group that we served. Some of these behaviors might have included crying at separation or difficulty transitioning, not wanting to clean up, not wanting to share toys. And although we are only currently serving about 10% of our population, we are supporting many more students than before, and we are continuing to grow with experience. Another challenge is that we are a small building with a limited number of staff. It quickly became difficult to find enough staff members to both implement our Tier 2 interventions, and also we have a limited number of staff to participate on our committees. Finally, time was a big challenge. Staff needed to be assisting with arrival and dismissal during the times that we would typically be doing our check-in and check-out interventions. Students who received support from the SAIG groups attended different weekly schedules. As I said before, some were 3, 4, or 5 days, and all of them were only for 2 hours and 45 minutes each day. Also within that time, there are parts of the day that our Preschool for All grant restricts students being pulled from the classroom. Therefore, finding the time to implement the necessary interventions was extremely difficult. So what are we doing now for Tier 2? To help with the challenge of catching the right students, we created criteria that would automatically identify students for us. These criteria are the buckets that you see in this picture. The yellow buckets are more of our open referrals that I will talk about in just a minute for parents and teachers to refer students for our Tier 2. They include characteristics like crying, withdrawn behavior that typically wasn't of that child, or any type of change in behavior. Our green buckets are our office reports. Those include our office discipline referrals and our attendance. And I will talk more about the criteria for that in a little bit. Our red buckets were kind of our outlier buckets. They were more medical and new students when new students arrived throughout the year. This bucket system is up on the wall in our conference room so that parents, staff, anybody who comes in gets a reminder of kind of what we are doing for our Tier 2 services. So the first bucket that I'm going to talk about is our office discipline referrals and our adult support calls. Any student with a combination of 2 will automatically have a trusted adult checking in with them at the beginning and end of the day. We are also looking at the different office reports of absences, tardies, and nurse visits. More than 2 would begin a check-in, more than 2 per month would begin check-in, check-out services for a student. When new students started throughout the school year, they missed the benefit of having the beginning of the year introduction to school expectations. Therefore, we would reach out to the teacher 2 weeks after a new student began to see if the student had adjusted well to their new routine, or if they could benefit from forming a special relationship with one of our staff. This staff member would be someone who the student would see often throughout the day, but not necessarily work closely with during their school day. Finally, teachers and parents also had the opportunity to fill out the referral forms when they felt that Tier 2 interventions would be appropriate. If parents or teachers found that separation anxiety was not getting better as the school year progressed, a child showed a change in behavior, either more aggressive or more withdrawn, or there was a known change in the family routine or dynamic, parents or teachers could request Tier 2 services begin for that child. Parents and teachers would make this request through a Google form that was created and housed on our school website. Creating this form made access to Tier 2 services much easier for our parents and teachers, which therefore supported more students in our school. Another part of our Tier 2 system that we improved was our daily progress report. Feedback from staff showed that they were overwhelmed with the amount of data being taken throughout the school day. Our original DPR had a place to collect data for each part of the school day, which was 9 different times in a 2-hour and 45-minute period. Therefore, to make things easier for our teachers, we looked at data to find which times of the school day were typically most difficult for students. We were able to break the day up into 5 sections, which was much more manageable for our teachers. This is what our current daily progress report looks like, with data collection points for large group, small group, centers broken down into 30-minute sections, and an area for transitions. Unlike with older students, we have chosen not to use the DPR card as a tool to show the child, unless there is a specific child that is very motivated by earning a large puppy paw. But instead, it is used as a data collection tool, a tool to remind teachers to restate expectations and give specific positive feedback during specific parts of the day, and a tool for daily communication with parents. We also were purposeful in only including the daily goal for each student and if they were successful in reaching their goal, but not their actual daily percentage, as we did not want parents focusing on this number. We also score our transitions a little differently, with all being successful, some being successful, or no transitions being successful, as there are many transitions occurring throughout the school day. And now I will pass it over to Julie to talk more about our Tier 3 supports.
Thank you, Katie. As mentioned, my name is Julie Cook, and I am the school social worker in our building. I'm a member of the PBIS Tier 2 committee and facilitate SAIG groups with students. I'm also a Tier 3 coach, as well as a wraparound facilitator. For today's purposes, I would like to share information about our experiences with Tier 3, focusing on the wraparound process at our Early Childhood Center. Wraparound has been a unique and beneficial experience for our families, students, and staff. When early childhood schools are able to implement the Tier 3 wraparound process, families are supported when their children are young. This can be a powerful experience and mean a world of difference in many circumstances. To begin our wraparound journey, a team from our Early Childhood Center, consisting of myself, the school psychologist, and our administrators, attended a 2-day training through Midwest PBIS. We were trained at our Carroll Stream District office, as each school in our district had a team of people present to learn about this very important work. It was definitely beneficial to be trained together as a preschool as well as an entire district to start wraparound. We have been able to learn and problem solve together as a team. In our district training, it was suggested that we choose families that had identified needs on a smaller scale rather than tackling situations to start where families had multiple and complex needs. We were encouraged that this would allow us to get our feet wet and dive right in to learn about the wraparound process. After the training, we were able to focus on the 10 principles of wraparound, including shifting our mindset to family voice and choice. Myself and the school psychologist each invited one family to participate in this journey of learning about the process together. As I was preparing for today, I thought it might be helpful to speak to some of the highlights of the 10 principles of wraparound. These are some of the areas that stood out to us as we have gone through this process with families. Family voice and choice. As facilitators, from the first meeting of the coffee chat, we have made sure to emphasize that the family is in the driver's seat and that they are the ones to identify the goals, who is on their team, and what to include in the action plan. We have wrapped students who have individual education plans, as well as students that do not have IEPs. We have made family voice and choice clear with all families, but especially those whose child has an IEP. We want them to know that this process is completely separate and this experience is different than special education services. Team-based. Our teachers and staff have been extremely supportive of the wraparound process. When families ask for specific staff to be on their team, they have accepted. Due to children's developmental levels at the ages of 3 to 5, students are not yet able to fully participate in meetings. However, we have kept in mind how we can include them where appropriate. For example, they can be involved in taking pictures to create a schedule or to give input for preferences for certain action items. Natural supports. Together with families, we've brainstormed potential team members in their natural support circle, even if the people identified can only be there periodically. To include out of the area family members in meetings, we called them on speakerphone so that they could actively participate. Now, with the common use of Zoom, this will be a perfect platform to include additional natural supports team members that cannot participate in person. Community-based. As our teams went through the wraparound process and phases, we utilized many community resources and supports. There were also times we would meet at daycares, counseling agencies, or special recreation offices for the families to learn more about what these organizations had to offer. Strengths-based. We emphasize the importance of using the strengths of our student and their family to brainstorm together possible ideas for the action plan. As a simple example, a child's love of books turned into creating a social story with their own pictures to address one of the family's goals. The feedback we have received from families regarding their wraparound experience has been positive and powerful. This slide is definitely my favorite. This picture was actually a magnet that a parent gave her son's rap team as he was transitioning to kindergarten. When I asked the parent if I could use this picture in our presentation for today, she gave a resounding answer. She stated, "Yes, of course you can. You were always such a champion for my son and our family." I cannot take all the credit for this parent's compliment. It was the wraparound process and the team members who supported the family as well. The significance of this picture is that one of the family's action plan goals was to be able to have outings where the two siblings would actually enjoy their time together rather than fighting and in tears. This picture says 1,000 words. This picture is a snapshot of what wraparound can do for families while their child is at a young age. This picture still makes me smile thinking of the excitement and the joy the mother had when telling the team about their first successful outing as a family. With another family, they had expressed a desire to set up family expectations for an upcoming vacation during a wraparound meeting. The team created a modified matrix that aligned to our school matrix expectations of being respectful, responsible, and safe on a cruise ship. They also created a social story about going to the airport as it was the students' first time to fly, and provided noise canceling headphones. The family reported how helpful these tools were in making their trip memorable and enjoyable for all. Additional feedback from families included that they felt supported, that they were heard, and that the team took an interest in what they needed help with. They also shared that it was a non-judgmental environment. A parent expressed that as one person, she had difficulty getting to some of her goals for her child, but that together as a team, we were able to accomplish them. Another parent stated, "I don't feel like I am alone in working through these challenges." It was also expressed that the meetings were a valuable use of their time due to the format, process, and outcomes. Staff that have been involved in the wraparound process also had positive feedback to share. They expressed improved connection with the family and a stronger relationship with the student as they shared in the process. They felt that WRAP presented a clear message of how can we help you, rather than here is the problem and this is what you're going to do. Families articulated directly to staff team members that they felt supported by their involvement. Lastly, as we worked as a team, shared strategies could be used by parents, teachers, and even daycare providers, so students had consistency across all environments. Currently with wraparound, we have shifted from the initial learning stage with our first families to using the district data decision rules to identify those families that are offered the wraparound process. When focusing on the student, we look at several different factors to determine if or when wraparound would be initiated. For example, we examine behavioral data from tiers 1 and 2, or notifications of hospitalizations, or risk of change of placement. For the family, we utilize direct requests or crisis situations, such as a family losing housing. It could also be family needs that span across life domains. Life domain areas are those such as emotional, psychological, vocational, safety, and legal, among others. We continue to use the coffee chats as the initial meeting where we explain wraparound in detail, and if the family is on board, begin to gather information on their identified strengths, areas of concern, and possible team members. Before the COVID school closure in March, we tried to meet outside the school building at a local coffee shop or casual restaurant in order to have a more relaxed setting. And of course, we can continue to hold firm to the 10 principles, building strong teams and move through wraparound together. As facilitators, we process and problem solve and try to grow from our experiences. As we continue in improving all PBIS tiers, we will review the buckets criteria based on current data to make sure we are serving 20% of our population with tier 2 interventions. We will continue to discuss parent involvement. How can we better educate parents, families, and the community regarding PBIS? How can we work on taking away the negative stigma of getting more support? And of course, with a hybrid remote learning model that is ever changing this year, what needs to be adapted to support all students and families? One change we have made in this hybrid remote learning model is to the Cool Tools matrix of expectations. We added looking at the screen for being responsible for remote learners. A simple change, but one that can make a significant difference in students learning at home. As we continue on this road of remote learning and social distanced in-person learning, we will together find ways to adapt our tier 2 and 3 practices. Thank you for your time in listening to some of our journey of implementing tier 2 and 3 in our early childhood setting.
Julie, this is Denise. I have a real quick question that came from the chat. How do family members begin or request the wraparound meeting or the process to start? Can teachers or staff reach out also?
Yes, definitely. Anyone can reach out to say that this is a process that they would like to get involved with. The request for assistance is on our webpage for PBIS for our school. So that is something they could access. Often we honestly know a lot about, just because our parents do kind of share a little bit about like what's happening with their families, because I feel like this is definitely a community with our early childhood center. And so sometimes we're just kind of made aware of what's going on, and then we can also, reach out to them to offer that support.
Okay, that was great. Thank you. Sorry, did I go ahead? Were there other questions that we could answer? Okay. Okay, well, I just want to do one more check to make sure I don't cut anybody off before they ask their question. But now's a great opportunity, especially while we have our exemplars here.
I have one more coming through on chat. So Adrian asked Julie and Katie, can you review the bucket criteria one more time, please?
Absolutely. I don't know if we can go back to that slide. And what we found is that this is very specific to each school. So you're really going to have to look at your data to find what criteria works best for you. But as a good starting point, we looked at some of those open referrals. So teachers and parents, if they're seeing any kind of changes in their student, can make those referrals to receive services, or even if parents know that a big change is going to be coming up, they can request those services to start for their child. We also looked at office reports, so attendances and office discipline referrals. So once they get 2 office referrals, then that automatically starts them in the check-in, check-out process. And for absences and nurse visits, if they have more than 2 within a month, then we just reach out to the families, say that we want to give this child some extra support in school, just give them an extra relationship to benefit, and help them come to school every day. And then we also looked at new students who come into our school, because as children turn 3, they can enter in at any time, and then they're missing all that beginning of the year introduction to school information. So any child who is new and is having a hard time making that transition, we put them into check-in, check-out as well.
And if I could just add, at first we were missing some of these students because, like, for example, students coming in late, being tardy, we were like, well, that is the parent's responsibility, and we can't, it's not the child's. And so, but then we thought about, wait a minute, when a child is coming in late, they are then missing the beginning routine and they're probably a little flustered themselves. We should be giving them the extra support. And so if it's something that's chronic, then the office notifies tier 2, and we are able to then intervene. So some of these things I feel like we overlooked at first, but then it was made clear that no, we definitely need to take a look at all of these buckets, shall we say, so that we're not missing anyone.
Thanks. I have a question for Margie and Kristen. Can you tell us where to find the tools that you shared?
Sure, thanks, Denise. So all of the Ohio resources, what we'd ask you to do if people are interested in that is to go ahead and email Krista and or myself. And I believe our email addresses have been posted in the chat box, as well as they're available within the PowerPoint presentation. Thank you. And they're moving to those now. And then we can sort of help talk with you about the specific materials that you're looking for and how you may be able to use them. And like Krista mentioned, all of our stuff, we'd also really love to hear about how you were able to use it and sort of what worked and didn't work, so that we can also use that to help sort of inform and make our materials better. So again, if you would just go ahead and email one of us, we'd be happy to share information and materials with you.
Were there any other questions before we wrap it up?
This one is for Julie and Katie. Can you talk more about your tier 1 supports and implementations and our office discipline referrals specific to pre-K?
Yeah, so our tier 1 supports are, I feel like, a strength for our PBIS team. We have our matrices for be respectful, be responsible, be safe for all different areas of the classroom or of the school building, really. And we go over those on a regular basis. We review them quite frequently. And as Julie showed, we have changed those now that we are remote for some students to add in those remote expectations as well. And we have also changed for students who are in person, changed those a little bit to add like mask wearing and things like that for the safety. For the office discipline referrals, previously we had a district form that we were using for all grade levels, and we tried to adapt that as best we could for our early childhood center. But it was still causing a lot of stress in our teachers, I would say, because it was not worded well for early childhood. And we did not like using those forms because it did not seem to accurately show what was happening. So we are looking into currently changing that form, and we have gotten a new form that we are going to be looking at and putting into place this year, hopefully before December. So that is very exciting for us that we have that new change coming up. Julie, is there anything to add that I missed? Okay.
Katie, you guys should check out the BIR form off of challengingbehavior.org.
That's what we just found this year and we are looking into right now.
I was going to say in Ohio, and I know, again, all contexts are different. And so you really need to think about what your own sort of program, how they operate and how your state operates. But I know in Ohio, we have very much adopted this sort of pyramid model thought process. And instead of office discipline referrals, we talk about using behavior incident reports within early childhood programs, and really invite our programs to think about whether or not their classroom managed behaviors, which usually in early childhood contexts in our state, that's what we see, versus what is more what we would consider school age, and having children sent down to the office. But again, like Julie and Katie say, you really want to think about how your own program is operating in those situations.
All right, we have 2 minutes left. If anybody had any last thoughts they want to share or information you want to share with us?
So Anna, someone said that the PowerPoint that is uploaded in the files tab is different than what was shared. Is there a way that we can update it, or people just ask the presenters?
No, I can update it. I'll double check. I know we did have a version. We just took out a couple slides, so most of it should be the same, but I'll absolutely make sure I check and replace it.
Thank you.
Right as soon as we're done. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you to our presenters. Thank you to everybody who helped the session to go as smoothly as it did. And please feel free to reach out with any questions, any resources you're looking for, or any ideas that you want to share.
A great conference, everyone.
Thanks all.